Welcome to the Zadzooks Happy Hour, a podcast providing commentary on the latest in film, TV, games, and comics. My name is Todd Stoll, and I'm joined by 25-year veteran reporter covering pop culture, video games, and technology for the Washington Times, Joseph Zadkowski. I finally started watching Schitt's Creek, and I'm into it.
It's not the funniest thing in the world,
No.
but there's a lot of subtle funny.
It's not laugh out loud funny, but I can't stop watching it.
Right.
Because it's a train wreck. And I say that in the nicest compliment possible. You're invested in these characters,
right?
Watching them act as train wrecks.
That's right.
And it's sort of like it's coming, and you just can't turn your head away. So I'm into it.
Right. There you go. And I like watching the wife. How many different outfits?
The wigs. The wigs really, and then she has names for her wigs. It's ridiculous.
And David and Stevie, that connection there, that relationship is just bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
It's funny.
It's the one role where Eugene Levy is so trying to play it straight.
Right, because if you ever watched him in Second City, he did the craziest characters.
And that's almost entertaining, and it's like on like a subtle context.
Right.
It's like I can't not watch him be the straight guy.
Right. SCTV is like Bobby Bittman. He's like Igor on Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Stewardesses.
I mean, look at what he did in American Pie. I mean, he was this like bumbling father.
Right.
And in this one, he
is a bumbling father in this one, isn't he?
He is, but he plays it so straight.
Johnny Rose.
And Chris Elliott.
My goodness.
Looks so bizarre. The thing is I can't tell. Is that a fat suit or is it really, has he really let himself go?
I think that's Chris.
You think he's let himself go? He doesn't care, right?
Why does he care?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably got like boatloads of money.
How would he have boatloads of money? From the Cabin Boy?
Groundhog Day. Got to have residuals for that. He's the cameraman.
Come on. How much do you think he made for that? That wasn't a lot.
Think about that movie, though. It's on every year.
It is a great movie.
He's got to get residuals for that.
Do actors get that? Or don't they just get like a flat sum?
No.
Not many of them. There's only a few get percentages.
It depends. It depends on whether or not they negotiate points. If they negotiate points or they take a lower cut for a taste of the back end.
There's no chance Chris Elliott negotiated points.
No, but he could have negotiated some back end deal where he took a lower cut.
That's true.
To take the role.
I'm just glad he's in it because he's totally perfect in the role.
Stevie,
and every time he picks up the phone and says "rolling shits,"
yes, and the woman who plays Stevie, she is fascinating,
right? Because
it really looks like she's not acting at all. You think that's her in real life? You know what I mean? Like just really sarcastic.
Yep.
Very just straight.
Have you gotten far enough yet for the Bob character and how he enters?
No.
Okay. You watch the Bob character. He's on a city council and he runs like a garage.
Oh no! I've seen. Okay, yeah.
He kind of dances in when he walks in all the time. It's kind of a Rat Pack shuffle. He does.
Well, I just finished the episode where obviously if nobody has watched this, we're completely off topic, but who cares? Where he Eugene Levy's character borrows a car to go collect unemployment, and it breaks down.
Yeah,
and then he has to call Rolling Shits to come in and deal with him. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you.
On that note, thanks for turning me on to that. It was a little poking and prodding, but it worked.
Yes.
So we've got a couple things to discuss today. We've got Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is the Harry Potter sort of spin-off series. You're going to talk a little bit about the first viewing of many Harry Potter 4K UHD, which is the Order of the Phoenix, I believe, right?
Order of the Phoenix. They put out the last four in 4K UHD. So it's Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and the final two-parter.
Deathly Hallows 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to talk Patriots Day, and then we'll break into the box office.
Yeah, we'll break into Song and Dance.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. First and foremost, I want to say that the Common Sense Media website, which is a website that deals with like how to appropriately determine the age that's acceptable to view this, says about 11. However, after screening it, I let my 8-year-old and 9-year-old watch it, and they loved it. And I didn't think that there was really anything wrong with it.
That's good, because
Yeah.
I thought it was a little dark for
It's
them.
a little dark, but then again, once you get further into the Harry Potter series, in some ways,
Wow, the last
The last two.
4,
yeah, they're dark.
it starts going.
They've done Order of the Phoenix, and we've stopped because it does get perpetually darker, and it deals with
Right.
kids. I mean, in this one, yeah, you've got some kids, but it's a pretty fun story.
Right.
The sequel's already in production. It comes out in November of 2018. It stars Eddie Redmayne or Edie Redmayne. I think it depends.
Edie, really?
I don't know.
This show is officially endorsed by Norm Crosby. So everything we mispronounce, it's in love and a loving tribute to Norm Crosby.
Sure. Colin Farrell is in this. You have Katherine Waterston, who plays Tina.
And a spunky younger sister, Queenie, is Ellison Sedol.
Right. And then you have...
Jacob Kowalski.
Yes, Jacob
who's
Kowalski.
The bumbling muggle by Dan Fogler. And I'm not familiar with Dan's work.
I have seen Dan in some low-budget films. So I have seen him before and was sort of surprised at his performance. It was very well done.
He's good in this.
The thing is that when you think of acting chops, you look at him and then you look a bit at Josh Gad. And a lot of ways they're very similar in that they've had a lot of supporting actor roles. And this is, I mean, it's more or less a starring role. I know that they claim he's a supporting actor, but makes up a good
he's there the whole time.
He makes up a very good chunk. That's
the whole
quartet.
Time. Right.
So this takes place in New York City in the 1950s.
20s,
sorry. I don't know why I said 50s, considering I watched it. And it surrounds a character named Newt who gets off of a boat from London, and he is a wizard, and he carries around.
He's a magizoologist.
Yes, and he carries around a briefcase full of fantastic beasts.
It's like a game reserve in his suitcase.
Yes, it's very cool.
It's really neat.
It's very cool, and he loses his suitcase.
Yeah, and he loses some of the creatures.
And he is wanted for essentially what they believe is invoking chaos by releasing these creatures into New York City to try and show the muggles, or in this case, the non-mage,
that
the
wizards
magic
and magic
exists.
Right.
Colin Farrell plays the villain, if you will.
He's like an enforcer for the Magical Society in the U.S., Magical Congress of the United States.
And you have the Flash.
Boy, I never caught that. That was awesome.
You never caught that?
No.
Oh, that's so... He was so
He was good.
What is his character's name again?
I have no idea.
I always get it wrong. You would think I would know this, but my wife and I kept going back and forth, and we couldn't recall it either because it's one of those names. And he plays a very integral role in the film, which we won't give away. It is very Harry Potter-esque. I mean, you have newspapers that are animated. Yep. You have wands, and you have... my kids were saying how some of the spells that they were casting were the same from Harry Potter.
Goblins.
There
was a fantastic scene, and I'm not giving anything away, in a speakeasy called The Blind Pig.
Yes.
With
house elves.
With a grumpy gangster goblin who's voiced by Ron Perlman.
And he was awesome. And he's in it for maybe 2 minutes.
Right.
But you know it's Ron Perlman right away.
And it's motion captured Ron Perlman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's great. The beast or the exotic animals that he is protecting are amazing.
Yep.
I think overwhelmingly kids will be drawn to the little green stick figure that picks locks that sort of hides under his the sleeve or under the sleeve of his jacket, of Newt's jacket. He's a big fan. They also will like the little creature
Bowtruckle.
Yes, they will like the little creature that steals
platypus,
all the
niffler.
All the shiny stuff.
Right.
I'm glad you've written some of this out because these characters I cannot.
I'm geeking a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, I mean it's a very solid movie.
And there's 2 points on the 4K I want to mention. First of all, the cinematographer does a great job of setting the tone in the 1920s New York, and then the difference between that, which is a lot bluer, greener, grimmer, and then much like the last 4 Potter movies, it's that same filter of doom. And then when you go into the suitcase, it's kind of magical Wizard of Oz coloring. It's like really nice, and it's pretty cool.
It's very warm and
right.
And they jump through different. Like one scene, it's like, or one area is completely snow covered,
right,
and another area is the desert.
It's great.
The giant lightning bird, the
Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird at the end is amazing,
and that's what's great about the 4K. Able to see these creatures, they look really, really great.
Yeah,
and it's the digital transfers from the 4K master.
Yeah.
So there was a 4K master. There's no upscaling going on. This is the best. If you're going to go 4K UHD, this is one of the films you're going to want to buy immediately. And getting to look at these cool creatures is just amazing.
And there's so many subtle things going on in this film that I think if you go back and you watch it a second or a third or a fourth time, you're going to pick up like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Some of the creatures are just, I mean, again, the animation on them and the CGI around it is just mind-blowing realistic.
What's that primate-like one? The demi-guys.
Yeah.
It can go invisible and predict the future.
Yes.
So to catch it, you have to not be thinking of what your next move is.
Yeah. You just have to do it.
But it looks great.
And they're very peaceful.
Right.
They're very peaceful. And they were very cool. Just in general, it was exactly what you would expect something from the world of Harry Potter to be.
And J.K. Rowling wrote the script, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And they've got, I think you said, 3 more?
4 more.
4 more. So there's 5 of them total?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And if they keep that same creative combination of like David Yates directing and the same crew, it's like that Peter Jackson crew for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
They get the same group together. These guys know their stuff, and they just lay out a great movie.
And, I mean, he's the same director from how many of the last Potter films?
Well, I know he did.
He did the last
Order of Phoenix. I think
he maybe did them all straight through
Blood
to the end.
Prince, maybe, yeah.
So, I mean, you've got somebody who's very experienced in this world.
And J.K. trusts him.
Yeah, and he's already, I think, on board for the next one, too.
Oh, yeah. What about the extras? Did you watch any of them?
Yeah, I did. It's sort of the typical plethora of great extras that you would get with a Harry Potter film, I think. Anything that didn't appeal to you? I mean, some of it was
too. You know what? It was too short. And I'll explain to you why it was too short in a minute. You get about an hour 15, and it breaks up. You get 15 minutes with like David with Yates and Rowling talking about the overview, and then they break it out by characters and creatures and designs of the film. It's all great. You get the best part of those extras is watching the 4 cast members sitting around in a discussion about how much fun they had making the movie. Yeah. That's fun. Watching that.
And also, they're sitting around in a room saying, we're a part of a Harry Potter franchise now.
I can't believe it.
Yeah,
they're all really happy.
I would dance around for that, sure. It's as close as you can get to being in a superhero film.
Right, like a Star Wars franchise film. Right?
You're in it.
15 minutes of deleted scenes, too.
Yeah.
Which don't make or break. There's one with the Goldstein sisters that's worth watching.
Yes.
They sing.
But
they sing a little bit.
There's not a lot. I mean, deleted scenes, it's always like, I get what, but I mean, you don't need to cut for time on Harry Potter. I mean, you can go as long as you want.
The last versions of the Harry Potter films that were released were special editions, and all of them had picture-in-picture commentary from some of the actors.
Right.
That's why I'm saying it could have been better, but it doesn't have to be better. It's a great film.
It's also
and it's got everything in it.
The start of a franchise, too.
Right, and it's going to be a hit.
Yeah.
It's already a hit.
Yeah, it's big.
So
I give this one a nice solid A.
Oh, we're grading again.
Do it.
Absolutely an A.
Absolutely.
Solid.
Get it for your kids. They will enjoy it.
And all I'm going to say about the 4K UHD releases right now, the Harry Potter films, they did the last 4 first, which is a bummer because you would hope they do all 4 of them or do the first 4 first. But I'm guessing the first 4 are a lot harder because the technology back then and what they were shooting on.
Could have been 35 millimeter.
Yep.
Or 70 millimeter.
Yep. But Order of the Phoenix looks pretty amazing right now. We'll talk about it probably next week, but a lot of good stuff there.
Great. Okay, when we come back, we will discuss Patriots Day. Stick around.
Okay. Communities Digital News, built by the writers and editors that deliver the news 24 hours a day. Visit comdiginews.com. That's COMMDIGI news.com. And support the next evolution in news. What do you mean you can't sleep?
I don't know.
What's wrong? You can't get comfortable?
You have me up too late watching these damn movies.
You asked for it.
I know. So this next movie...
But you got your nap.
I did get my
You're
nap
much
in today.
happier.
You got a nap today.
I always get a nap.
So you're going to go back and have another one before you go to sleep?
For The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Series finale for till next February.
You know it's going to be a disappointment. You know it is, because that's what they do.
I know what they're going to do. They're gonna get up to Negan's door, or Negan's going to get up to Alexandria's door, and then they're going to cut.
They're going to cut to black. Yep. And it's going to... The rage online that's going to be from that.
Right.
They just need to get into it and get over with it, and then and you know what it needs to be? The cliffhanger is Rick or Negan dead?
Right. They both go at each other, and there's a cut.
As soon as they do it, that would be great. Okay, so Patriots Day is our next 4K Blu-ray review, starring Mark Wahlberg as Tommy Saunders. In this, you have John Goodman, who's the police commissioner, Ed Davis.
Yes.
You have
Kevin Bacon, who is the head of the FBI investigation.
Yep. You have
J.K. Simmons.
You have two of America's treasures right there in one film. Who's the Watertown police sergeant.
And Jimmy O. Yang as the carjacked driver. Who was
awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I loved him. He was great. So this movie reenacts the Boston Marathon bombing of 2013.
Right.
And it shows from a few hours before the bombing to the subsequent bombing to out to 100 hours post-bombing when they take into custody the younger brother.
Right, the Thestrunk brothers. I
can't pronounce their names.
These guys are idiots, by the way. Not the actors, but the brothers themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a serious lack of planning with these two.
So this is a hard R.
Yes,
it's about as hard as you can get. There is,
and I'm not making light of any of this. This was ridiculous. It was terrible. I'm really sorry it happened. Lots of people were affected by this.
Yeah.
But the film's pretty great.
The film is amazing, and in the same token, it sucks watching it because, oh my goodness, it is painful.
You can't believe it happened.
It is,
right?
It just tears at your inside how these people were affected.
Right.
When you have the father on the ground and his kid's face is bloodied in the stroller.
And you can't believe it doesn't happen more.
Yeah.
Because this was not a couple of brainiacs here pulling off.
And it's so amazing just how quickly they identify these two guys.
Right.
And it really comes down to I forget his real name, but the Asian young man who has the Mercedes,
Dun Meng, yes,
who is carjacked and held hostage in the car, and he escapes.
Right.
And it really it's because of his sort of
remembers
amazing gravitas to do this.
He remembers his GPS.
He remembers his GPS number, and he escapes and calls the police, and that's how they really were able to find the brothers. The shootout in Watertown is unbelievable. I guess I don't remember the amount of pipe bombs that were thrown at these police officers.
Right.
But that is shot so well and so realistic. J.K. Simmons, who is the police sergeant, inevitably takes the brother out, the older brother.
You almost can't believe that happened.
No.
Because it was so
it's like a Bugs Bunny
blockbuster movie.
A Bugs Bunny and where he's hiding behind a barrel and they keep popping up and they're standing within 2 inches of each other and they can't hit each other.
Right.
And the kid, the older brother, he shoots and shoots and misses, and the police sergeant just keeps making contact and keeps hitting him, and then
takes him down.
The younger brother runs him over with the Mercedes.
Which, we're not giving anything away in the plot here. I mean,
most people
reported.
Yes, most people know this, but it is done well. And what I think Peter Berg did such a beautiful job, who directed this film.
He directed Deepwater
Horizon, and also Lone Survivor,
right?
Which Deepwater Horizon I love. I think that's a great movie. Yeah. But again, he does something that Mel Gibson did with Hacksaw Ridge. He immediately cuts into these people who you think are not a part, they're not real life characters, only to find out they are.
Right.
And he shows them, and he shows some of them going back and running the marathon, or some of them overcoming the tribulations of losing limbs. Right. In the case of a couple who is highlighted in the film, they both are essentially blown apart, and they're in separate hospitals, and they don't know where they are, and they come together, and they have real life pictures of that. The young man with his younger child in the stroller, they show the young boy being carried off by police, which they had reenacted. They show him with his son. I mean, that's almost where it's a kick in the gut, because it's just like, oh, they didn't try to Hollywoodize this premise. The only character that's really not a part of this is Mark Wahlberg's character. He's not.
He's a compilation.
Yeah, he's a mixture of a bunch of characters. But everyone else, they interview the real police chief, they interview the real mayor, they interview the real governor, and they showcase the Boston Red Sox game afterward, where they highlight it and they use that real footage. Mm-hmm. They interspliced a lot of real footage as well throughout the film as it was happening. It was very well done, and I'm not really a big fan. Like when United 93 came out and all those 9/11 movies came out, the Oliver Stone films.
Yeah, I didn't see any of them.
I couldn't deal with it.
Right.
And this one was, I think the difference was this was such a celebration of the
community spirit,
and the ability
the city,
to pull together as a community to hunt these guys down.
Right.
And it is rough to watch. It is very hard to relive this experience, and it's very realistic. It's a beautifully done film, very well acted. Again, you have great source material. The Blu-ray looked fantastic. Again, it's not for kids at all. This is an adults only viewing, but highly recommend this film. Again, right up there with Deepwater Horizon, right up there with Hacksaw Ridge in terms of the realism.
Right.
Just a great job.
Yep. 4K UHD highlights the city of Boston a lot, which is really great.
Yeah.
You get to see all this. It's like a travelogue a bit. And, of course, watching the firefight in 4K UHD is almost sickening, watching this and realizing it's real and this is what actually happened, and it is really visually stunning in that aspect.
And the one thing that I think made, and it was so subtle, but it was so realistic, is when they cleared out all the local police and brought in the FBI, and on the roof there was one local Boston PD woman, and she's like, I live here, you're not getting me to leave.
Right, I'm not moving.
And it's like, that's the kind of stubbornness and spirit that they have. And that was just, it was so subtle, but you're like, that's exactly what I would have expected.
And all the featurettes are on the 4K UHD, which is nice for me. Did you watch any of them?
And it's a pretty tight movie anyway, so I'm not surprised that they would have been able to fit them on there.
90 minutes worth of featurettes, which really focus on the real people in the Boston Marathon bombing, which is what I would hope they did. Yeah. And that's exactly what they did. Yeah, the best part about those featurettes, and I wish there were much more, is the actor and his real-life counterpart are on screen talking to each other in interviews. That happens with John Goodman and the Commissioner Davis. It happens with Mr. Yang and the Mr. Meng, the car jack driver, which is just, these guys are just talking to each other. I wish they had gotten J.K. Simmons and his counterpart Jeffrey. I'm going to butcher his name, Pugliese. To be on screen together and just talk. But there's plenty of all of these guys talking about the event and how it happened, how it laid out, and how they were striving for ultimate realism in it.
And it's weird because this is it's like one of these hybrids where it's kind of like a cross between a documentary and an action movie, you know, like a drama. So I mean, I really enjoyed this. Again, this I think is a week of A's for me because this is right up there. It was just very well done.
Yes, this was a big week for me watching movies.
Yeah,
I've seen great stuff.
Great stuff. And I am very happy with what I've seen.
Right.
But it really was. It was so sad at some points.
Yeah.
Oh, it was rough. Especially that officer who stood by the 8-year-old and then saluted him. I wonder, they didn't really say how long he stood there, but it was hours.
I'm sure as long as it took.
And I don't think that was ever really highlighted much. Right. So, beautifully done. So what do you want to do when we come back? You want to do box office real quick?
I don't know, but I watched Rogue One. I don't have to talk about it because we reviewed it exhaustively, but oh my goodness.
And is it 4K?
It's not. Disney's still not on board. Okay?
That's like the biggest eye roll ever.
But the weird thing is, I looked up the specs, and it was brought to a 4K master, so they could have.
You know what Disney's going to do? They're going
to have to re-release everything.
Everything. It'll be like episodes Cinderella. 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and then Rogue One, and then maybe they'll do the 1, 2, and 3.
Anyway, we can talk about that next week.
All right, when we come back, we'll do the box office real quick, and we'll close this one out.
Thank you.
Communities Digital News, built by the writers and editors that deliver the news 24 hours a day. Visit comdiginews.com. That's COMMDIGI news.com. And support the next evolution in news.
Okay, let's do the numbers. I cannot believe number one at the box office.
That's disappointing.
Boss Baby.
I do not need Alec Baldwin's head getting any bigger.
It's already fairly large in general.
And now he's got a hit.
And it was really poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it had something like I can't recall, but I feel like it was like in the 40s.
Barely beat Beauty and the Beast.
49%. Barely beat Beauty and the Beast, but you know when these are forecasted numbers, so when they actually come in, it'll probably just creep above 50.
Right.
So yes, Beauty and the Beast after 2 strong weeks, still strong. I mean, barely beat by like $2 million.
Right.
So still monster numbers. Ghost in the Shell, not surprising.
Kind of tanked.
Bomb.
Is $20 million a bomb?
For the budget, think about the CGI budget alone on that thing.
Right.
And
I think...
So what happens if you look at the overseas numbers, though? Because these are all domestic, right? So I'd be curious to know what the box office is overseas. Does it have a foreign yet?
Foreign is at 40.
Ouch.
So worldwide, 59.
Is it wide? It's wide, right?
Yeah. I think part of the problem was...
The whitewashing stuff?
Yeah. If you're in Japan, wouldn't you expect that you would see a Japanese actress play this? And if you're someone who's been hooked into the original?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised. Definitely not surprised. Power Rangers, that was kind of a big fall to number 4.
Were they, number 1 last week or something? How long has it been out?
No, they haven't been number 1.
Okay.
But there's...
97 million worldwide. I mean, they've already made their money.
No, because their budget's $100 million.
Oh, you're kidding. Why would you make $100 million Power Rangers film? Do you know what kids were settling for back when it was in its peak? There was nothing going on in that show.
Mark my words now, Captain Underpants in its opening weekend
going to explode.
Will crush Power Rangers.
Underpants will explode.
Yes. I don't even want to know about that.
For what it's worth.
Oh, man. Kong Skull Island. I think it's at what?
Is it a hit?
It's 150.
477 worldwide. It's a hit.
But the budget was 185. So, yeah, they've made their money back.
They made their money back.
Probably barely. And then Logan.
One of your national treasures is in that movie. So
I know.
Right.
John Goodman.
Logan, 585.
Yeah, with a $97 million budget.
With an R rating, home run.
Home run.
I noticed that Rogue One has now made $1 billion, which is just crazy.
But it's still not as
I'll
rich.
tell you something about Rogue One that's bugging me.
Okay.
There's a rumor or whatever, there's reports that the two main characters are coming back for a sequel.
A prequel?
Jin and Cassian.
A prequel?
I don't know. They didn't say that.
How's that?
I don't know. I'm assuming everyone's seen the movie at this point. Are
Spoiler
we blowing
alert,
anything?
They're nuked. They're dead.
Right.
They die.
Death Star takes them out.
They die.
I will be so disappointed if they do a continuation and somehow they were in a bomb shelter.
They're running and they fall underground.
Right. That would
it
kill
has
it.
to be a prequel.
I hope so. That would just
as
kill
in
it
like
for me.
another Rogue One movie, or are they just going to appear somewhere else in the universe?
I don't know. Anyway, that bummed me out.
Yikes! Where did you read that?
I don't know. Online.
You know what else I read online?
What?
Ivan Reitman.
He's thinking about it.
He's not ruling out another movie.
Oh, good. Another F-rated movie?
No.
He
won't say. Here's the interesting thing. He apparently got into it with Paul Feig, and they did not see eye to eye.
Right.
But he felt it was his obligation to let him make his movie and tell his story. So apparently Reitman, who is now the chairman of the board of Ghost Corps, who runs all these things, there is an animated movie coming out, I think in 2018 or 2019. That is confirmed. And he said, and he wouldn't rule out additional live action movies, but reading the writing on the wall, Feig wouldn't have anything to do with it. He seemed very unhappy with him. And
it always comes back to the Ghostbusters with you, doesn't it? No matter what we talk about, we always come back to the Ghostbusters, which is fine.
Yeah. So
dead air.
Yeah. I'm Todd Stoll.
Warmest regards.
Best wishes.
I'm Todd Stowell. One of us is Todd Stowell.
And
guess who?
I'm Joe Zadkowski.
It's usually the guy butchering the name.
I'm Joe Zadkowski this week, since I butchered names.
Fair enough.
Eddie Redmayne.
We love you, Norm.
Edie Redmayne.
Edie Redmayne? Like an ice cream?
I don't know. Leave me alone.